Want a chance to win at over $3,000 in prizes? It's free. Go to the Paddle and Fin Facebook page, fill out our Spring Madness bracket. We got matches between all the hosts here at Paddle and Fin, and we added Josh Smith from the Dark Waters Kayak Fishing Podcast. We're going to battle it out. Live streams will be every Sunday, so you could follow along on your bracket to see how you're doing every Sunday morning between 8 and noon, your local time, and the top 7 places of the brackets are going to have a chance at huge prizes. We got Orion coolers, Ketch Products, Never Lost Tethers, Flip It ID holders, Angler Button, a chance at a Black Pack or a Chinook PFD, $50 gift card to South Mountain Media, TRC Covers, Boss Buffs. We got a Rack Net, Yak Gadget, RoboHawk, Biz Baits, Wicked Weights, She Angler Custom Baits. I mean, guys, the list is long. Go fill out your bracket. Either send it in to the Paddle and Fin Facebook page or email it to paddle, the letter N, and fin at gmail.com for your chance to win today.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast. This is the final cast. I'm your host, Josh. And with
Brad.
me tonight is Brad. Brad Hicks. He's got his round 1 Sunday 4-hour live tournament coming up against Ricketts. How you feeling, Brad?
Good, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to need a little bit more energy than that, dude.
What do you want me to say?
You can be excited, man.
I'm
you get
not
to take on your team manager.
Yeah.
You get to take on the mountain bike lover himself, Jason Ricketts.
I saw the comment Jacob Ruff posted on your guys' live stream about me, like, I forget exactly.
You're gonna give him a beating worse than that mountain bike seat did.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a trash talker though, so
Yes, you are.
I know,
just behind the scenes. You're a keyboard warrior.
everybody. Well, like when it comes to like fishing, I don't know. I ain't gonna talk trash to like Brian, Sam, Dan, Jason. They're all better than me, dude. So I don't know.
Why am I not on that list? I'm better than you.
You probably are.
I'm just kidding.
You caught a 20-inch smallmouth. I haven't caught one.
I'm just totally kidding, man. Yeah, it's stuff though, man. It's all out of fun. It's gonna be a good time. I'm trying to decide between you and Ricketts. I'm gonna follow one of you guys, and I'm gonna heckle you the entire time, and I'm gonna have it on video.
You don't know where I'm going.
I know where you live though, and I'll be up earlier than you anyway. So
I don't even know if I'll make it.
And I drive
place
faster
in
than
time.
you. You don't know if you'll get there on time.
I'll probably wake up at 7:30, throw the thing in the truck, and go.
Yeah, you'll end up like at Delco Pond.
Dude, we drove by there the other day, and I was curious if I could throw my kayak in there.
I do not think you're allowed to kayak there, unfortunately. It'd be nice if you could, but I don't think you're allowed to put kayaks in there. If you were, I think we'd see a lot more people out there because it's a small body of water. There's no obstacles, nothing. It's not moving water, but we were just talking about bass like the other day, catching like bass in like, super pressured or weird city ponds like that. And I caught a 3.5 or 4 pounder there 2 years ago. I just went up there and saw some bluegill popping on the surface, dude. And they weren't like popping, eating. They were like running, like they were jumping out of the water. I threw a Kitech in that bluegill flash color. Dude, I think I twitched it twice and it got hammered, dude. Like, obviously there was a couple bass in the area chasing around bluegill. So
yeah,
I
don't
never
think I've
caught
ever
one
fished
there. Yeah, I used to catfish and carp fish there all the time, but I'd never bass fished really. I might have went there once, but it was like in the heat of summer and everything. And I think the key to that place is actually to kind of fish out further. I don't think the fish come to the bank that often. If they do, they're kind of skittish just because there's so many people there. But
Yeah, that I that's what I do when when the river's flooded. I'll usually go to some of those parks with my kayak in the area because they
Yeah.
allow them.
yeah, the metro parks.
Yeah, I was like, why not? People usually pound off the banks there, so I go to the other side where nobody goes and I catch fish.
I caught a decent one on Martindale. One off Martindale. I think it's an old gravel pit. It's kind of up north, but
Does it
it's
fork
kind of
off
a-
on one side?
yeah, it's like two of them. There's one that's really shallow, and then one that's deeper, and it's got like a weird big peninsula in the middle, or at the opposite end of it.
I wish you
But
would have said that because that's a good place.
it's okay. It's not that.
I've
good,
always
though. It's
done
actually
really well
tough.
there.
You shouldn't have said it was a good place. Yeah,
It's all good.
it's kind of a hard walk though with your kayaks. It's not the easiest
Oh,
thing.
dude, it's a pain. It's like
So-
a half mile, something like
When
that.
I caught that, I caught a decent fish there, and it was actually funny. It was like we hadn't even launched yet. I just threw a line, threw in a couple times, and on a lipless crankbait, and this bass chased it all the way like to within 5 feet of the bank and then hit it. But Brad and I decided let's talk about our new kayaks this year. Currently, I am in the Kilroy HD, made by Jackson Kayak, and Brad is rocking the Bonafide SS127, but he's got a new color and red line. One thing I wanted to ask you, Brad, but when we started this, was there any new updates to the Bonafide this year that you've noticed at all?
No, there's no updates. It's all just new colors. Same boat as last year.
That's cool. Yeah, the Kilroy HD is the new boat for this year. I think they released it, prototyped it, at the end of last year. We saw it over the winter time when a rep brought it by. I know.
Yeah,
the
we
Jack's
saw it
reps-
before everybody.
Oh no, it'd
I thought-
been tossed around a little bit. Like there was a couple people. I think Chris Funk had it for the prototypes for a while, and
Well,
There was some-
before anybody else saw it, we saw it.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was pretty cool. It's a cool boat, man. There's one complaint that I have about it, and that's just because I'm used to sit on top. And well, there's a couple complaints, but I don't like the internal rod storage.
Really?
It's really hard. There's not a lot of room between a seat and where the reel is, where it sits on this like little like ledge kind of thing. There's this piece of plastic. It's got these kind of like C-shaped like little clips almost, but it's not a clip. It just sets on there, and they don't sit very well on there. So when you're trying to pull out a rod out of that thing, dude, it's a little tricky to actually do it, and especially if you're trying to do it quietly. It's
Yeah.
actually fairly on the noisy side because that seat's so close to it, man. It's banging around everywhere. But
Did
and
you
then
end
being-
up?
Go
Did
ahead.
you end up using your black pack to put your rods
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, I bought Justin's old bungee system, and it took the first time I actually put it on and I attempted to do it. I got frustrated because it's sit inside style. And, you know, when you think about where bungee system is on like a sit on top kayak, it's going up and it pins it down. Well, this is sitting almost level, right, with the top of your black pack. The black pack sits up slightly higher. So I had to kind of try to figure out the best way to bungee it without it wants to pull that boat together in a sense.
Oh yeah.
The top of those tracks, man, are actually pulling in because of the tension of the actual bungee itself.
Yeah, I forget
And
that
so-
that kayak's pretty flimsy up at the top. Well, not
Yeah.
flim-
Yeah,
you know.
it's flimsy though, because it's just a layer of plastic as opposed to almost being, in a sense, when you think about it, like doubled up almost, like the support of it would be in a standard sit on top. But I figured it out this past weekend. I ran out to a little local lake. I just kind of wanted to get out of there. I got frustrated though, because I got out there and realized my battery was dead. So I didn't get to take the fish finder. And so instead of stressing about it and trying to rush, I actually probably spent almost more time rigging up that day than I did fishing, because I was trying to kind of figure out where I liked the placement of everything. You know how it is. If you rush, you get out there, you start throwing on a bunch of new stuff on your kayak, and you get out in the water and you're like, dude, I don't like where this is. It's box.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And like I got the tray system. There's this little tray system that has a couple rod holders and a gear track and a little compartment you can drop like plastics into, and that didn't fit well. I don't know if it's the boat, if it's bent in slightly on the top, or if it's just those holes for that tray were drilled bad. But like I had to like pull the boat like kind of apart up the top like that to get those T-bolts to fit in through the holes. To me, it shouldn't be that difficult, because it makes it really hard to slide it now because of it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be because of the way I've stored it. I store my kayak on my trailer. It's on a couple of J mounts from Malone, and I don't know if it's causing it to kind of fold in on itself a little bit. I wouldn't think that it would, but it's possible that it's doing that. So I might need to look at it a different option and get it out in the, when it gets summertime, heat it up some and see if it kind of goes back to where it should. I'm not 100% sure if that's what it is though yet. So, but let's get into what we're going to do rigging wise this year. How about it?
Yeah, I wanted to like go over your black pack a little bit more, because you said you hated the inside rod storage on that. Are you still able to use those rod holders on the black pack? Is there enough room?
Yeah, there's enough room and everything. There's actually plenty of room that sits behind the seat. I didn't realize how actually kind of more forward I sat and like to sit in that until I started to put that in there, and I kind of messed around with it. I have the ability to add a couple of rod holders that I'm going to do to the black pack, because I was only using 3 because I usually use what are they called? The molded in ones. What are those called? It's inside.
Roto molded?
The ones that come inside your
flush mount?
Yeah, the flush mount ones. I'm sorry. It's basically in a sense molded in, but it's not. Usually it's just a hole in it. That part's mounted inside. But it with not having those then I kind of looked at the possibility of doing what you did, but I can't do that because my rods are going to sit up too high in a sense, even if they're down, and I would be putting them along the sides of. I just thought it'd be sketchy if you hooked a tree, it would be able to rip it out real easy, out of a standard rod holder, a mega rod holder. But so I have it figured out. But the problem with this is those bungees. So the bungee idea is possibly going to be scrapped, which sucks because I just bought them from Justin, but he sold them to me cheap. So
yeah.
But I'm going to keep the bungees because I have another idea for it. Because I've been taking my sea tug with me, and I've been putting on that back platform that has that sea deck mat, and I've been taking a standard strap, like just a regular cam strap, and because on the gear tracks on there, there's actual spaces underneath them, right? There's little gaps in it in the plastic, so I can run that strap right up underneath it real easy, and then strap that thing down to the back, and then I've got my wheels with me.
Oh, I gotcha.
But here's the idea, kind of reversed of what I'm thinking of. I bought a couple tie-down straps right here. I've got a set of 4 of these. I've got actually 6 of them total. I got 2 for Zach's seat. I don't know if you guys saw my post.
Yeah.
I bought Justin's old Jackson seat from him also. And I used 2 of these in the gear track that runs the center of the boat, and placed the old Jackson Cusa seat in there, and put one of these in the front and behind the seat for Zach, and strapped it down with the Yak Attack cam strap, dude. And it worked perfectly.
Yeah, I saw that picture. I was like, man, that's a good idea. It kind of looked like I can't remember what seat it is, but it kind of looked like, I can't remember.
Dude, it's the same concept of how the actual Jackson seats are in the boat. Like our seats were done with one strap with a with like a track mounted like cam, like in a sense with a little strap on it. And there was a cam that was about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 inches long, and it had a bolt, and that slid in the gear track right there that was in the floor. And then the actual longer part of the strap that went through the seat, just like I had done like this, except this was using these, and it worked great. So, but what I ended up thinking of doing is I found these Sims cam straps. They're short. They're only like 15 inches long. They're actually for rods, for like strapping to like a Sims backpack if you're into fly fishing and stuff like that. So I'm going to put one of those on each side of the on the gear tracks that are on the sides of the boat in the back. And I'm going to use and put a couple of tie down ones because I have gear tracks mounted on my black pack. So I'm going to put a tie down on each side and strap it down like that. Then I don't have all that bungee right there.
That's a good idea.
And then I won't have to worry about because the thing I didn't like about the bungees is the way it pulled the boat in, but it was also really, really, really tight. That's why it was pulling the boat in. And like when I'd go to try to like tighten everything, it'd want to pull the black pack to one side real hard.
Yeah.
And so it was a pain. It took a little effort to try. I mean, I got it done. It's easy, but like it just shouldn't be that hard. So, especially if you're trying to be quick about rigging up for the day or for a tournament or whatever. So we'll see how that works. I'm not 100% sold on the Sims cam straps just because I have them sitting here, but let me grab them real quick. They're just right
Yeah,
here.
let's see them. I'm curious to see what they look like.
I also got one of these, Brad.
Ooh, is that the binder for soft plastics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I have way too much Z-Man products. But man, yeah, that seat mod that you did looked pretty cool. I was kind of curious about that. Like, how was that kayak with you and your son and everything? Was it easy to fish out of?
Yeah. I don't know what I did with this cam straps right now. Oh, well, I'll find him here in a minute. It paddled fine. He only weighs like 30 pounds. So,
Well, I mean, did you have enough space and stuff?
that was the one thing that I could have probably done was move his seat up a little bit further to give myself a little bit more room. He's fairly little. Like that seat is actually probably too big for him to the point that his legs actually hang off of it instead of being bent.
Yeah.
So I could have probably pushed him up a little bit, but there wasn't much more room, maybe about 4 inches, but I think that 4 inches of space could help me out. So the thing that made it uncomfortable was that day I ended up wearing waders again, and because of my knees were bent so much that it was really kind of uncomfortable how tight my waders were. And if it had been like summertime or whatever, it might not have bothered me, but it was like cutting off the circulation in my legs.
You had to take out the footrest to put that seat in, didn't you?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That seat rest takes up a ton of space. Like the bottom base of that thing is probably like 6 inches wide or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I remember from sitting in it at the expo. That's cool though. I mean, I didn't know if you would like push his seat as far forward as you wanted and then turn the seat towards him so you guys would be looking at each other.
Yeah, I could do that too. Definitely could do that. He almost hooked me in the face.
Was he fishing?
Yeah, in a sense. We fished a river, and it was the day that it jumped up like,
oh geez,
like 8 feet, dude, in like a few hours. Like we went out there, and the water had not crested over the dam, and I'd ran into one of the guys at the Conservancy District guys was out there sweeping off the bike paths and everything. And they have this big tractor with this huge broom on the front of it, like one of those spinning, rotating, real wide brooms. And I was like, are you guys going to close this down today? I was like, I'm taking my little one out, so we don't want to run into any trouble. He's like, oh, I don't think so. He goes, but they do it last minute. And I'm like, all right. So I ended up parking my truck at a takeout point that I knew we'd be able to get down to, but we walked back up to where we launched because of the bike path. It wasn't a very long float.
Yeah.
And so by the time we made it up there, they had shut the gate. Somebody came by and shut the gate. And I was like, well, that's not good. And then second of all, the water had started to come over the dam, like the parking area. It wasn't rushing. So him and I, we launched real quick. I'm really familiar with this place. I fish it a lot. So I know where all the like safe points are. And that's from wade fishing a lot in the area. So I know where to be, like with the boat positioning and everything. Water was super dirty. So what I did was I just threw on like a really kind of light ball head jig with a grub on it, threw some scent on it, and threw it on a bobber to see if we could get anything. Cause there was a lot of fish actually feeding. A lot of stuff was coming up to the surface. I think they were, are they called quillback? Like it's a carp type of fish.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know.
But
I try to stay away from those things.
Sometimes, dude, they'll hit lures and plastics just like bass do. So
yeah.
They're much more aggressive than your standard like carp that are eating off the bottom as far as like what they eat. I think they'll eat minnows and stuff like that too, because I've caught a couple down there on like crankbaits and stuff like that. So so we launched, got out there. Like I said, it was a little uncomfortable, fought the wind, so it wasn't the greatest experience for him. He was really excited to be out there, but I think he he's only 4.5. He'll be 5 this summer. So he, his attention span for it's not going to stick with it very long unless we're catching fish. So we were only out there for like maybe 2 hours, dude. And the water rose so high. I was like, all right, we got to go. I can't, I don't want to make this dangerous for us. So we took off. I think he had more fun though, going through the rapids than anything,
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. Dude, yeah, I don't like being on a rising river, man.
It's actually one of the best times to fish because the fish will feed real crazy then. But, unless you are really experienced paddler, especially with the places that like your knowledge of it, it can be safe. Like I said, the place I was at, I was cool with him. The only thing is I was like, we got to launch now, dude, get in the kayak and just sit still, so, cause I had to get the sea tug off the bottom and everything. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't have been safe if we would have hung out there for another hour because the water started to cascade over the launching area too. So it kind of cuts around the parking, like through the parking lot first and down these rocks. And then eventually it does work its way over the little launching ramp, but
yeah.
But dude, it was crazy. The action we saw. I mean, I saw bass coming up too. We just couldn't get them to bite, man. And I wasn't really trying to switch out like baits and stuff like that. I was fighting the wind so bad. Because it was a really windy day. It was when that front had pushed through. So I think we're still sitting in the post front conditions, but I wanted to get him out. He'd been begging me to get in the kayak, especially since I had picked up the new seat because him and Colin went with me to meet up with Justin to pick up that seat. And, he was super excited knowing he had his own chair in the kayak. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's a cool mod, man. I'm interested in seeing how you play with it as the season goes along.
Well, dude, I got all kinds of stuff coming, man. I ordered a bunch of GoPros. So I got the boomstick. I already have a front mount one, but from doing the tournament, we're going to be checking out the Panfish Portrait Pro. Isn't that what it is called? Or is
the that's the one I just got.
So we'll see how that looks.
It looks good. I've tried it on mine already.
Yeah.
Well, not on the water, but just sitting down in it.
Yeah, that angle is exactly what you were kind of looking for, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But so that'll be a mod. I got a new anchor wizard. I got the low profile one. Hopefully it works better than the first one that I had. I had the taller high capacity one, but it liked to come on spool. The spool liked to come unscrewed from the handle. So we'll see how that works. That's one I'm gonna have to work out because of the ideas I have about strapping the straps for the, because I'd like to use it out of the back end as opposed to the front because of having that tray. And
Yeah.
so we'll see how that goes. I'm not 100% sure how well it might end up front, but which I think would be a little bit better because it'll face me up current in a sense. But I don't know. We'll have to kind of play that one by ear. So um, that's, you were asking me about the eyelets,
Yeah.
the tie down ones. That's what that's for. I'm going to use those as a guide for the anchor
Oh,
line itself.
that's a good idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So I had the idea of running those on my kayak this year.
Mm-hmm.
After you bought some, and I'm gonna use it for tether points. I got my fish grips on one of those 6 foot long RoboHawk tethers.
Yeah.
I was using that donkey leash, threw that thing away. I lost the fish last year, and it cost me a win. So I was like, screw that thing. I'm going back to fish grips. So I'm using those on the RoboHawk tether, and I'm gonna hook those onto the eyelets somewhere on my gear track, front of me, behind me. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool mod. I was talking to somebody on my Facebook page, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good idea." I'm like, "Yeah, I like it better than where I have it now."
Yeah, in regards to like, keeping your fish like that over the edge side of the boat, I was really interested in the Yak Gadget, that sidewell thing that they have. It's like that
Yeah,
square, and the only problem is I don't know if my net is big enough for it. Like I think it's fine to catch bass with it. It works great. I think it's a trout net. The problem with it, I don't know if it's deep enough to sit in the water on that Kilroy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I'm wondering if the fish will still be suspended like up out of the water
I
because
don't
of the
know.
net. But
I know a lot of guys hang the net over the side when and then put the fish in it and have it just chilling right there. I don't like doing that. I like to let it go back in the water, let it swim around
yeah,
on my
I
fish
mean,
grips.
I I don't think either way is necessarily bad.
No, that's just me.
But I can't do that with mine because I have that. It's a trout net, so the handle's super short. Like, so when I put it under my leg, it actually suspends the fish up out of the water because I'm having to
Yeah,
press down so hard on it to keep it from going anywhere. So,
I had that issue
um,
too.
yeah, I'm just trying to actually. The thing that's really nice about that kayak is taking pictures, like CPR pictures for a tournament. I've had a couple fish that jump out of the boat, and it's hard for them to, or jump off the board, and it's hard for them to get out of the boat with it being the sides being up higher like that. So that's a nice
That's
feature of
nice.
it. The other thing that kind of don't like those because of those internal rod storage tubes and that whole system. There's these bungees that are right in there too that you can tether off to. Like I have my catchboard leash tethered onto it. So that's nice, but at the same time, it makes it a little tricky to move the board around in there. But I got to kind of like put my feet up on the sides of the boat out of the way to get a good picture. I mean, the thing is, I could probably ditch the whole idea of using that foot rest and put the catchboard like slide it up way forward and be able to do it fine. But I kind of like to have the footrest thing. So I don't know. We'll see
Yeah.
though, because I kind of find myself not really utilizing it very often. So
Hey, that footrest is it both sides?
yeah,
That's cool. So you could set that in the middle of you and your son if you
yeah,
have your seats facing towards each other.
yeah. I could definitely do that. It just it would be a little too close for me to like it because I like my legs a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
stretched out. And he wouldn't even be able to touch it. Like, to be honest with you, I mean, he might be able to put his feet on top of it, but I think his legs are still too short because that seat, the Jackson seat's not a small seat. So and my original idea was to work with our friend Mike Grimsley and try to actually like fab a seat up, but like a small one and that he could sit in. But when I thought about like the cost of doing that and trying to figure it out, and then Justin had to pop the seat up for sale, I was like, why don't I just buy that, dude? And they'll save me the time and I won't have to bother Grimsley with it. And it should work just fine. And he can grow into that seat. So
Yeah, you just gave me another idea too for the eyelets. I can tether my catchboard to that.
yep. Yeah, dude, those things are great tether points because you can wind your key ring on one side and one on the other side and just have it clip it on that easy. Like my tether now just stays in there, and I have the key ring fed through the catchboard.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when I get in there, I just clip the key ring to the carabiner.
That's a good idea. Yeah, the thing is, I'm still like struggling where to put my catchboard right now because it's not very easy in the Bonafide. I don't know, man.
We have a black pack, right?
I do.
The only thing I don't like is having to reach behind me. I'd rather have it close, but
Yeah, that's my
because I did that with the hog trough. I bought that bracket system and I hated it from day one. It's still on my black pack and I need to take it off. I'm not a fan of it. It was just real kind of a tricky thing. You could get the slide out easy, but you had to do it like perfectly. And I so got mad because when I tested it out originally, I'd put it on the black pack and it was sitting in here in the room that I'm sitting in now. And I turned and I was doing something on my desk here. I turned and ran into that thing and cracked that board, the old hog trough. So I was like mad from day one about everything, the way it was set up before he even got put in the pack.
Don't get me started on hog troughs, dude. I hate them. Hate them.
But yeah, let me see if I can find those cam straps real quick.
Oh yeah. Cam straps.
I don't know, man. Dude, it's such a mess in here. Who knows what I did with them?
It's all good. I'll edit that part out. Say it's like 40 seconds.
All right.
So you can't find your cam straps. It's all good.
So yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. How are you gonna rig your what is it called? The Panfish Pro, is that what it is?
Yeah. So the short one,
Oh no, the bigger one.
the boomstick, will be behind me. I've got plenty of gear track space. It's gonna be fun to mess with the different angles. So I really liked when Aaron had started, and you've seen a lot of guys now do the one that's kind of low and to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing adjusts to be able to be turned down, or up vertically. So that's different ways to kind of look at it. So I almost got the shorter one, but I ended up going with the longer one. And I don't know. We'll see, man. So I got 4 GoPros. And so I will plan on having one behind me, in front of me. And I'm going to have one, though, that won't run very often. It's going to be put on just like a selfie stick. I'm going to use that for like underwater releases and that sort of thing. So, and then I'll have one either on a chesty or a hat mount or something. I haven't decided.
That'd be sweet. That's a lot of points of view, I guess.
Yeah. But the whole goal is to run the kind of permanent mounted ones. Not permanent, but you know what I mean, to run continuously without having to switch them on and off and that sort of thing. So I got to get some high capacity SD cards for them. I've been looking at, there's a company called 3BR Power Sports. I think I shared the information with Ricketts on our group chat the other day, and they make a USB port that covers, it goes where the old cover is, because when you open that cover, it exposes the battery port also, and so it makes it at that point it's not waterproof anymore. So this actually is a new cover system that will cause it to plug itself in, but it's got everything covered back up. So I'll run like a long USB to my my battery box, which has 2 USB ports in it. So I can run that rear one and the front one. That was the one thing. One time I did mess with a GoPro. I borrowed a friend's and used my old boomstick from the Kusa. And granted, those things do turn on voice wise. It's just tricky sometimes to get it to hear you, because especially if you're facing away from it.
Yeah, I've seen videos of people getting mad at their GoPro record. They'll say it like 3 or 4 times, and then they'll turn around and like flip the camera off.
Yeah.
I hate you. It's funny.
That's how it is. And for the sheer fact that the battery life is so bad on them.
You're going to have yours hardwired, you said.
Yeah. So it'll be hooked up, because I have a Dakota Lithium 23 amp hour battery in that box. So it should be plenty to to power that stuff. So.
You could probably run that GoPro for days.
Yeah. So I have 2 of them hooked up to that, and then the fish finder. So it'll be interesting to see how the wiring is going to go inside the boat, especially being that it's it's a sit inside, so I'm going to be with the wires. I can't run it like through the rear tank storage up to the front like I used to. That's because I used to keep my battery up in the front storage compartment. So we'll see how that goes. But I need to sit down though and spend a day. I need to straighten this room up, obviously, and then sit down and do like a rigging thing and sit down in the boat, see if I like where everything is. Every time I keep trying to do this, I end up trying to go out on the water also, and I'm itching to fish and not spend time rigging. So
I was going to say that your room right there, it looks like you have like stuff placed in like the right spots on purpose.
It's not, dude. It's
like it looks cool like that though.
Hold on, dude. Look at this. Look at that mess. Everything is a mess in here, dude. Look at the floor. It's just boxes of crap, dude, everywhere.
Yeah, you had the Iraq net hanging there, then your paddle and fin hat, your Jackson hat. You could see some jackhammers over there.
Yeah, it's not. Some of it's on purpose, some of it's not. The rack net's hiding a crack in the wall back there.
Nice. So what do you got? Anything else new that you're rigging to your?
That's about it, man, for now. Just the Anchor Wizard stuff. When I sold the Coos HD and I went on the river, with it being high like it is still, you're fighting a lot of current, and it's unfortunately a lot of times to get a fish, the weather's not the best and the wind is crazy, and and even windy days are supposed to be good days of fishing, but it makes for hard paddling sometimes, man. And so I kind of realized, I was like, man, I got to get something. And so, and I'm still looking at even doing that Yak Attack, or the Yak Gear, not Yak Attack, but the Yak Gear shallow water anchor. I was thinking about ordering one, but I know that John said they were having issues getting the poles in because of the virus thing had shut down the plant that was supplying them or whatever. So
yeah,
but
he found some on Amazon.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
But so I'd like to try that out. I got another rigging idea with that. I can't say that's original idea by any chance. I can't remember who I saw it, but somebody else has one. And where those T-bolts go into the power pole pattern that's in the back, he put these 2 handles like this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so because I was afraid that it would make it hard to carry that kayak if that's on there. So I went ahead and purchased a set of these at like Cabela's or something like that to see how they work. So
crazy, all the stuff you can do to a kayak. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but here's what stinks sometimes, man. I'm realizing sometimes like you buy this stuff and you rig it up and then you're like, I don't really like it.
Yeah, I've been there before. I've been there before. That's when you just turn around and sell it, dude. I've done that so many times. Like I was gonna mention earlier, I'm with a new net now. I went with the Forever Last G2, the one that Greg Blanchard uses. I had the Yak Attack net, I wanted the smaller hoop. I picked the wrong one from the beginning, so I sold it to Jordan Gibson a couple weeks ago. And I was going to buy a new Yak Attack net with the smaller hoop, and they were out of stock. So I was like, whatever, I need a net ASAP. So I just went with like the cheaper Forever Last G2. 2 days late, 2 days later, Brock Howe messages me and was like, you still have that net for sale? I'm like, no, I got rid of it. And then the very next day, he was like, hey, Yak Attack has their nets in stock again. I'm like, dude, I just bought that other net. Like, really? He started laughing at me. I was like, dude, what is going on?
Well, you know how that fire crawl jackhammer keeps going out of stock?
Yeah.
So somebody messaged on Facebook that they Tackle Warehouse had some in stock. So I went on there and I picked out a couple of them. I think I got two or three. Can't remember. And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll come back to this later. And I went back 3 hours later and they were sold out. And they only had like 10 or 15 of them or something like that, I think.
That's
and I was
crazy.
like, yeah, dude, I went in to check out and it was like, oh, items currently on back order. And I was like, wait a minute, they just had 10.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I mean, I see it being like a really good pre-spawn bait for sure. But...
I found this cam straps. They were on the floor between all the boxes of mess.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
all they are.
Oh, are they like rubber?
It's like a sort of like it's almost like a mix of rubber,
nylon rubber,
and yeah, something like that.
Huh.
So the thing that worries me the most is these plastic cam straps. But I mean, it's 16, 15 inches long. So we'll see, dude. I don't know. They may be a little short. I thought they'd seem like they were a little bit longer. I think this is the bigger size. The other side was only like 9. So, but there's not much distance though between the black pack and the actual like rail, the gear track. So
yeah,
I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of eliminate a lot of just kind of crazy bungee stuff going, but we'll see.
Yeah.
If at all, man, I could even utilize these, I think, on the back of the Jackson seat if I wanted to hang some kind of storage bag or something there.
Probably.
But
that'd be nice.
Yeah. What other rigging things you got going on the Bonafide this year?
I did a few different things this year. So a lot of people, well, I currently I have the fish finder on the dry pod. But I'm thinking about I have the mighty mount on top of the dry pod, and then I screw in the lock and load system to that. But what I'm thinking of doing is moving my fish finder over to my side rail, and then running the wires from the dry pod to my fish finder. It's probably, I don't know, 10, 12 inches of wire. And then I'm thinking about putting a roto grip on the dry pod instead, and putting my net there, because like what I mentioned earlier, Greg Blanchard, he has that Forever Last G2. He did a mod where he made his handle 18 inches longer or something like that. So what I'm thinking is if I put a longer handle on that, I can fit that right into a roto grip and then have it laying right on my hatch. So I'm thinking about it. I haven't tried it yet, but that's one of the different things I'm using this year. And then, roto grip on the seat bracket. That's something different. I saw somebody post this in the Bonafide group. They got one of those brackets that go around, like a tube. You know how the Bonafide seat is.
Yeah.
It has that metal bar where you can go high and low. They put like a little clamp, and then they put their roto grip on that. So they're setting the paddle here, right on that little nub, and then shooting it straight across the front hatch. And I've been doing that for the last like 3 or 4 trips, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, that's been a really cool mod that I've done this year. We've talked about it before, where I've had the roto grip to where I was positioning my paddle caddy corner, I guess, diagonal across the deck, and it does get in the way. especially when you're trying to get up against the bank and stuff like you said before.
Yeah.
So that new paddle mod, I'm really liking that. That's awesome.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'd like to still try to visit the idea of getting the extension, to raise
Yeah.
just that little bit so it sits up higher and doesn't have that. Because even in that boat, it's probably even worse, to be honest with you. But I find it kind of better though than the bungee way of having the Kusa had on top of the it's just easier to slide it in. I do wish though that band, that paddle band, whatever you want to call it, that the holder was back further, not so close to the front of the boat, because like when you put it in there, it's just the first 4 inches that are like tucked inside there. Like I'd like the paddle to be tucked up inside there a little bit more, but
Yeah,
it's definitely easier than trying to slide it up under the bungees like I did before.
Yeah, that extra height that my seat gives me for the paddle to sit in there, I don't even need to raise up the roto grip because I'm getting like 8 inches higher, I guess,
Yeah.
mounting it on that bar of the seat. So it's perfect. I love it.
Heck yeah. Nice. What else?
The Portrait Pro, the Yak Attack Portrait Pro. At first, I was thinking of putting it on the front rails, right behind the hatch on the Bonafide. Tried it there, took some pictures, sitting in my garage, didn't like it. So I think I'm gonna move it to my left side and then angle it towards me, and then vertical. That way, you're getting more of like a chest and like head shot rather than a crotch shot from where I was sitting my X grip.
Yeah.
I know I hate that. I know I see a ton of people do it, but I hate it. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I took a picture with that sitting there. It looked good. I think it's going to block out background so people won't see where I'm fishing and stuff.
Yeah.
Got to be careful. This area of Ohio, man, people steal your river spots pretty quick.
Yeah. I have thought about, I don't know where I'm going to put the short one that that we'll be getting here. I'm going to say if I'm going to do it, it may be on the rail that's on that tray, on the gear track, because there's a gear track.
I was going to say that.
Tray. But I also have my fish finder on there, so I'm kind of worried about weight wise because that plastic that's made out of, it's not super strong. I mean, it's strong, but I don't think it'll be an issue though. I also have the old dog bone like foam extension with an X grip. That X grip can be switched out to a GoPro mount super easy. It's just a ball, and I already have one of the GoPro ball mounts here from, I don't even know. I think I might have bought it when I borrowed that dude's GoPro. I can't remember. So that can be flip-flopped out real quick if I'm not a fan of how low the Portrait Pro is. So
yeah, I think you'll like it, dude. I think it's a good height.
I'm really excited about having the quick disconnect, as opposed to what I have now. So
the lock and load system.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you put stuff on, when so what stinks about like what the setups that I have now, they're ball mounts, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to put it on. Well, you could put it on, screw it down, and you've lost kind of the position of it. So you have to unscrew everything else to center it out, which is really weird when you're doing with your fish finder because your fish finder is so top heavy, it just wants to automatically fall off. And you think about it, you're loosening it at 2 points, right? Because there's that connecting point, and it helps because you can make different adjustments. But because it's so heavy and you've undone it and it's unhooked itself from both ball mounts in a sense that everything just wants to fold down. It's like real tricky to hold it up. So that's kind of a complaint about the old systems like that. So it'll be nice to try out the quick disconnects like that. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of the ball systems. Ram still does it. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. That lock and load system is freaking sweet. Because you have, let me see. I have like 5 different lock and load bases. If you don't like something somewhere, you could take it off, put it there, put something else on the other one within like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You can do that with the ball mounts, but the problem is that you're loosening everything and like
Yeah,
you're having to change like not just that, it's kind of
it takes longer too.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, I do have. There was I got a black pack this year, first year using a crate. I know a lot of people. Jacob Ruff gave me a hard time about it. Thought you didn't like crates. I'm like, well, I didn't, but I'm gonna try it out this year. I got the new canoe hinges, friction hinges for it.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out awesome, dude. If you have a black pack and you don't have these things on it, you need to get them.
Yeah.
Because you raise that lid, it just stays there. Doesn't make noise. You shut it, you close it slowly, doesn't make noise either. So it's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was one of the other gripes I had about doing the bungee system with my black pack is because of the way I finally figured out the best way to strap it down, but it puts an extra bungee right over the lip, like where you would open it. So now not only am I having to undo the little bungee that's actually on the yak attack to hold the lid down, I'm having to actually move a heavy duty bungee up out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the black pack hinges, the new canoe ones. I have to give Brian and Rocktown a shout out because they sent me those, and he didn't make me pay for them or anything. So he was like, "You better give me a shout out." I'm like, "Dude, I will. I promise."
Dude, those things are awesome. I'll have to have him send me some now.
Dude, they are awesome, man.
Brian, where's my hinges?
No, I was like, dude, how much? I'm PayPaling you money right now. He's like, nope. Give me a shout out and make me a video one for YouTube.
Oh, I thought just make him a celebrity.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the infamous Sly Dog.
Yeah, but other than that, I think I'm like pretty dialed in with my Bonafide after spending last year in it. There's certain things I like certain ways. I didn't really change anything much this year from last year.
Yeah.
So it's all good. But I was going to ask you one other thing about your black pack, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh, yeah. Did you look into the Omni hooks for it, that Bonafide makes?
Yes. The problem with that is that system has to work by coming from the bottom up.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was afraid of.
I didn't know if there was access points inside where you could put the tie downs.
Nope. The only rail is the center one, so the black pack would be sitting on it in a sense. So, yeah, I looked at those. I got really intrigued. I almost bought them just to see if I could figure it out, which is still possible. But like I said, when I decided that I was doing the Anchor Wizard, I needed to remove as much as I could from the rails. That's the other thing I'm still scared about. Because I thought about, how I was talking about the C-Tug and strapping it down on the back. Yeah. When I do that, it takes up like all the rail on that back portion of the kayak.
Yeah.
The back side of it, because I've got the two rails also. That's the section of the back that go towards the handle. And even with the bungees, I'm afraid if I was to try to put, I don't even know how it would happen. I would think the bungee rope would be in the way of the actual anchor line. That's why I'm thinking I might still have to try to figure out a way to do the that Anchor Wizard off the front of the kayak.
You might be better off with it off the front of your kayak since you like to fish rivers more anyway.
Yeah, the only problem I'm running into was liking the ability to use the micro power pole screw, the pattern. The little chute thing for the Anchor Wizard. It fits one side of it, so the bolt pattern's the same.
A lot of Bonafide users they don't use that chute at all. And what they do is they run like a kettleball through the handles on the front and the back. So they don't use the chute at all. The ball comes right up against the handle and stays there. When you release it, it just drops.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about if you have a front handle.
Yep. That's definitely, I don't have, I have this type of handle that's the molded in.
Yeah.
So it's a bit
bigger one.
Yeah. I did order a DeBomb anchor though.
Did you?
So yeah,
What size?
they only come in 5.
Oh, I didn't know that. How much was it?
44 bucks, something like that. It's pricey for what it is, but here's what it sold me on it. It is not lead. So
Tungsten.
no, it's not tungsten either, but it's I forget what he told me. I think it's steel, but
Yeah.
it's not lead. And I'm kind of I try to watch my eco-friendliness, you know what I mean, in the rivers, and I would hate to lose a 5-pound piece of lead in a river. So
You're a fishing hipster.
nah, I guess. I mean, in that sense, but more not a hipster, but a hippie. Um, yeah. So, I kind of looked at it that way, that, as soon as you go away from lead to the other metals, there's going to be a big spike in the cost. I mean, you look at tungsten versus lead or, whatever, any kind of material like that.
Yeah.
Lead is cheap, but at the same time, dropping an anchor on a rock, chipping it, anything, because lead's soft, on a softer side. So I just didn't want to be depositing that crap in the rivers. There's enough crap that we lose lures in. And, I mean, the other day I hooked onto a branch and broke it off and pulled out like 200 yards worth of line, that somebody had snapped off, and it was crazy. It was wrapped around this branch, like it was 200 yards of line stuck on a branch this big, and there was no line but maybe 8 inches hanging off. It spun all the way around this branch.
Yeah.
And I was just dumbfounded, like, dude, that's insanity. And and a lot of, how it is around Dayton, man. We fish a lot of areas. We fish some urban settings and suburban settings, and the amount of garbage and amount of crap that you see in the water just is baffling sometimes. And so whatever I can do to kind of lessen my impact out there, I'll try to do. And if I have to buy an expensive anchor, then so be it. I have a mushroom style head.
Yeah.
I went from having a grapple style that I had actually kept folded in. It was 3 pounds, and it worked only if it was a calm day. And at that point, I didn't need an anchor. So I got frustrated with that anchor, and I bought an 8-pound mushroom anchor. And that thing works good. The problem with that thing is when I pull it up, especially if you're in a muddy bottom, it has drain ports in it, but it still doesn't drain very quickly. So if you're trying to pull your anchor, get it up and get moving, you got to wait and clean it out.
Yeah. That's what I have right now.
And so the cannonball style that the bomb is making is just a round ball. There's plenty of other options out there, though. If you want to go the cheaper route, I know people use Jared McComas. He uses the old school like window weight like tubes. It's like a big long tube, and it's a weight. Those things are supposed to be awesome. And it's cool because it comes up fairly easy up into his boat. Like, I think if I remember correctly, I saw he had an anchor wizard on the front, and it went through the front handle like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so there's people who use those. People use kettlebells, the workout thing, that sort of thing. So there's all kinds of options out there. I just wanted to give, the bomb anchor a try. I invited him actually to do a podcast once I get the anchor and use it some.
Heck yeah.
So we'll be sitting down talking with him here in the near future.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, I keep hearing good things about those. I think Chad Hoover mentioned them a while back, and they just caught fire.
Yeah, so they're pretty cool, man. You can pick it in 2 different, they call it fuse sizes. It's actually the metal like wire that comes out of them. I think it was like a 3 or 9 or 4 and 9, 5 and 9 inch. I went with the longer one. I don't know, only because if I utilize that tube with the anchor wizard, I wanted it to be able to come all the way up through it. So
yeah, I need to pull the trigger on an anchor wizard or something, because sometimes, dude, I just get too frustrated when it's windy. And you guys might actually see that on the live stream this Sunday. If it's windy out, I'm probably going to be mad. Dude, I was out there last week, and I was smacking the water with my paddle. I was all mad and stuff.
Yeah, I I get mad at the wind also, especially when you know that you're like, you've kind of located the fish and you
Yep.
take one cast and you've got to paddle back into position, and then you take a cast and paddle back into position, and then, or you get a bite and you lose a bite because you've realized you've got way too much slack in your line from the wind drifting you one way or other, or it's drifting it so your line's completely tight all the time and you're basically trolling at that point.
Susie's hearing this right now and laughing,
Yeah.
going, ha ha ha, 360.
Yeah. That's where, I mean, to be honest with you, that's where the pedal drive shines, man. I
Yeah.
got my taste of wind inside that thing at Dale Hollow, and it makes a big, big difference. So,
Yep. I was fishing with Jay there, and he had that big rig FD. And he's like, what are you guys trying so hard for? I'm like, shut up, Jay.
so yeah, look for, hopefully, Brad and I, we're kind of, we're still trying to practice our social distancing. So we haven't really fished together yet this year, except for back in the winter time. But, Brad and I talked about trying to drop some videos, rigging video of this stuff. So if we can, we'll try to do one together. If not, you might see them come from us individually. But
I still need to do my bonafide video for Jason.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I mean, it's just the weather's such a toss up. It's time of year, and I need to get some microphone stuff going too. I got the GoPros now, so I can record that way. But
yeah, dude, I was sitting here thinking when you were talking about something. If you had your seats facing towards you, have your son wear the chesty with the GoPro, so he's getting video of you and then like video of whatever he looks at. That'd be cool.
Everybody would puke. That kid cannot sit still for 5 seconds.
That's still be cool.
Were you did you guys experience an earthquake? I'm like, no, that's just my 5-year-old freaking out. Dude, when we were out there, man, those fish were jumping everywhere. Every fish that jumped, he called it out. Daddy, there's one over there. Let's go over there. So
that's awesome. That's cool. Well, we're at an hour.
Cool.
So.
All right, man. Anything else you got to add?
No, you did more rigging than I have this year, so I didn't have much to talk about. But I had questions.
I do want to say thank you to Sam Jones and Angler. All the podcast members have started to receive the new paddle and fin face buffs, neck buffs, neck gaiters, whatever you want to call them. And with them came our new Angler buttons. So do us a favor, man. Check out Angler Products. If you haven't done so, if you haven't bought one, buy one. It's a very unique device, very cool, very, very techy, really, when it comes down to it, man.
I like it.
Yeah. A lot of people keep their journals of catches and stuff like this, and this makes it 100 times easier than to sit down and try to remember that stuff and write it down in a book or whatever. But go ahead, Brad.
Have you been able to use it yet?
No, I just got it today.
Okay. So. Well, I bought mine a couple weeks ago, or not a couple months ago, so I already had one. But I mean, this thing tracks wind. If you're on the river, you can pick which gauge that you're launching from. It tracks temperature and barometer. Then you hit it when you catch a fish. Dude, it's cool. I enjoy using it. The times I do remember using it when I do catch a fish. Sometimes I forget to push the button.
But not only that, so you buy this thing, right? It's fairly cheap. It's not expensive. What is it? Like $20-$30 tops?
Yeah.
And you download the app. The app is free. There is a premium portion for the app if you want to pay for that. A lot of people don't, but I have no idea, to be honest with you, the difference in them right now. I haven't researched enough, but
link maps and stuff.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely a cool feature. But not only that, that app doesn't just provide like the ability to track your catches and all the weather data that comes with it. The app has another feature also. And so if you guys are into, really into fishing, you enjoy the social media aspect of it, check out this app because it's got its own basically social media just extravaganza happening. Like there's constant posts and videos and how-tos and just all kinds of stuff. And the community is huge. And this isn't just kayak fishing. This is fishing in general. So you've got people from the pro side of bass fishing to just bank fishermen to kayak fishermen, anything you can think of, man. They have all kinds of stuff. So please check that out.
Oh, another feature I forgot about that. It tracks how far you float.
Oh yeah.
So for a river fisherman, dude, I'm gonna love knowing what stretches are however long. It's gonna be sweet. I can't wait.
Yeah, and that's something we always kind of, because when you look at a map sitting there trying to measure it out on your computer as a paint, and so now you'll be able to kind of, if you're a river guy and you track when you start and when you finish, which it does for you, you'll have the ability to kind of figure out your time management of how much time you have on the water and how long it's going to take. Because how many times, Brad, have we gotten on the water and we're like, yeah, we're going to be out here 6 hours, and then we're like 10 hours deep, like everybody's calling their significant others like, I'm going to be really late, you know, or we end up being like, all right, I can't miss these plans, and then we're power paddling all the way back to the, you know, trucks, missing every hot spot that you wanted to hit that day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. We'll have to have an episode of them too.
Oh, we will. I talked to Sam, so
yeah.
So look for a review on the Angler app and the Bullseye. So,
ding ding.
With that, Brett, anything else, bud?
Ding ding.
Is that it? Ding ding.
That's it.
That's the round. End of the round. All right. Well, we just want to take a moment, thank all of our listeners for joining us for another Final Cast episode. Remember, if you guys haven't seen us yet, jump on the website. There's only a few more days left. This episode drops tomorrow on Thursday. You have until Saturday night at midnight Central Standard Time to get your brackets filled out for the Paddle and Fin Madness host tournament, whatever you want to call it. Thousands of dollars worth of prizes are up for grabs for our listeners who fill out the correct bracket. So get on there, have fun. You know, I plan on trying to follow Brad or Ricketts around. I haven't decided which one, but it's going to be fun. I get to heckle them. I'm going to take the GoPro, add some more video content. Unless Brad's on the river, he won't let me come then at that point. But
heck, we need to just all three get together. Me, you, and Jason. Go to the same place. Why not?
You know how funny it would be? You're sitting there just catching fish after fish after fish. He's throwing the same bait in the same spot, not catching squat.
Dude, I have a feeling I'm going to get skunked. So I just have that feeling, man. It's all good, though. It's whatever.
Hey, it's all for fun. That's what it is. So with that, man, we just want to, like I said, thank everybody for listening. So anything else, Brad?
Nope.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll look forward to talking with everybody next week. Tight lines and smooth paddling.
See ya.
Go check out the website, guys. Paddle the letter N and fin.com. Also check out YouTube. youtube.com/paddle and fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest, feel free to email us at paddle, the letter N and fin @gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're doing giveaways, announcements, things like that at Facebook and Instagram at paddle and fin. Shout out to our show supporters, Rocktown Adventures, Loveland Canoe and Kayak, Hammered Lures, Fish Mob Lures, TRC Covers, Ketch Products. Go to catchproducts.com. You can put the Paddle and Fin logo right on your catch board. Don't forget to go over and pick up your JigMasters Jigs. Use promo code PNF20 and save 20% today. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. It helps grow the audience, helps others find our podcast. So please drop a 5-star rating in on the podcast platform you're listening on. Don't forget about the recycled plastics program, you guys. Take your used plastic baits, put them in an envelope, mail them to the address in the show notes. Our man Eric Richards at Hammered Lures melts those down, makes new baits, and donates them to various chapters of Heroes on the Water.